Yo, guys, it is another Action Maverick here, and I am back with part 2 of What If Naruto Was Part of Team Darkness. Yes, that's right, part 2. And if any of you guys are wondering why the thumbnail for this series and the thumbnail for part 06 of What If Izuku Was Shadow, like the return of What If Izuku Was Shadow, part 06, why they're the exact same thing. It's because basically this branches off from that, because the characters Mephiles and Encarcio, or at least this version of Mephiles, are basically, the same from that What If just over to this. They're the same thing. Yeah, that. Oh, and another thing. Chaos Control. Okay, everybody. That is the chaos control end. This is a part 2 of What If Naruto Was in Team Darkness. Basically letting you guys know that in between this time and the time of part 1, or at least the end of part 1, Naruto and his team, Team Darkness, basically Mephiles and Encarcio, the two sisters, Mephiles and Encarcio. And in case anyone's wondering how to spell Encarcio, basically ENCARSIO. Yes, N-E-N, and C-A-R like a car, and then S-I-O, C-O, Encarcio. For anyone who is wondering how to spell Encarcio, now you know. And knowledge is power, G.I. Joe. No, this is not G.I. Joe, this is What If Naruto Was in Team Darkness. Basically, the time in between the end of part 1 and this, Team Darkness has been doing their own D.R.N. missions, and which does indeed include catching Tora several times. In which, seeing as Mephiles and Encarcio are both incredibly fast, and seeing as they work as a team with Naruto, the same unit, they work as the same unit, Naruto, basically, Naruto's actually become fast himself, enough to possibly even trick the Sharingan. Which is actually a good thing, considering Sasuke at this point has at least, get the point to the one to Mo's Sharingan. He's at least got to there. With the remembrance of his brother, basically, being the one responsible for the assassination of his entire freaking clan. Or at least that's what he knows. At least he thinks he knows. Actually, by now, it has gotten to the point to where Team 7, basically that is, in this, Sasuke, Sakura, and Sai, because Naruto's part of Team Darkness, which basically, whenever Naruto and basically Mephiles aren't using Training Ground 44, the literal Forest of Death, to flirt, basically they use Training Ground 88 to do their thing that they do whenever they're not doing missions. In which basically Team 7, Kakashi Hatake, Sasuke Uchiha, Sakura Haruno, and Sai, because Darlinzo thought it would be a good idea to try to spy on the last little Uchiha to see what info he could get. So, yeah. Basically, they're finally their first ever freaking C rank mission. Basically, is Tsunami no Kuni. And basically everything like what would happen in canon basically happens. Even up to the point where Kakashi basically kicks Zabuza's ass with the Sharingan, his other ninja skills, and then Haku, in disguise as a Hunter Nin, takes him away. And then basically Kakashi drops the bomb whenever he's awake at Tasuna's house. Basically, Zabuza's still alive. And that Hunter Nin is not actually a Hunter Nin. It actually is actually an accomplice of Zabuza's, probably. You know why they did that? Basically, around that time, that basically is now gotten to the point where freaking the Demon of the Mist has gotten involved with the whole thing with Team 7. There's basically backup being requested. And seeing as Team 8 and Team Guy and Team Team 9 and basically Awesome's team, Team 8, Karanai's team, and, Team Guy's team, are all doing their own damn thing. Basically, here's finding the only other suitable backup, as for currently. And, even the way for Naruto to get his own, special field experience, and even to test out and see, what the goings on with Mephiles and Encarcio. Which basically earlier that day, they were in a council mission where basically everyone and their mother was giving Mephiles looks like that, like bury into her soul if she had one. And basically, since Iblis is split in between Mephiles and Encarcio, she basically has one half Iblis inside of her. Yeah, Iblis decided to come out of her and try to shield her. That didn't really help things. Whenever Encarcio figured out that Mephiles decided to share with Naruto the secret of the fact that they kind of have Iblis divided in between each other, and not only that, but what exactly Iblis is was told to Naruto. Without Encarcio even being able to know. And basically, Mephiles coming back with, if you had known about this, you wouldn't have let me tell. And Encarcio coming back with, yeah, exactly, because I'm smart. You say you're the mind, but if this is all true, then I'm technically the smarter one out of the two of us. You literally let the knowledge of Iblis out to another person. And Mephiles will just be like, because Naruto understands me, unlike some other people in Encarcio. Yeah, you can basically see that Encarcio and Mephiles kind of have this heated situation going on. And then Naruto would finally just break in, bust into the freaking council room. Or basically be, rush over towards Mephiles, and Iblis would try to attack, but then we'd start to see how Mephiles got all teary-eyed around Naruto and started, expressing true feelings. But, how, she felt comfortable around Naruto. And Iblis seeing this, being like, well, if Mephiles trusts Naruto, and basically, this part of Iblis, somehow, for some reason, just now, something would have happened, like some sort of flashing light. And after that, Naruto could actually plainly hear Iblis trying to say something to Naruto, himself. Basically telling Naruto that, basically, him and his other half, well, technically, Mephiles doesn't really need protection, at least from what Iblis is. You know exactly what Mephiles is, doesn't really need protection from what Iblis is. And besides, Naruto seems to make her happy. And, well, in seeing that, Iblis believes that it can trust Naruto with the well-being of Mephiles. And basically, it can join with its other half inside of Encarcio. Someone who can actually still control themselves while having both halves of Iblis inside of them. And so that's exactly what happens. Naruto being entrusted with the well-being and an emotional welfare of Mephiles' emotions. Mental and emotional state, basically. And technically, Naruto has been proven to be, good for Mephiles, basically someone to talk to wise. Makes her happy. Be around someone like him. And, well, Hiruzen would decide to quiet the council room from all the roars of Demon and Fox thing, Demon Brett, finish what the Yondami started, all that shit. Especially whenever it looks like, it basically starts to look like all this shit being said is starting to affect Mephiles to the point to where start reaching into phase 2. And here's a knowing what that feels like to get hit by. And knowing that these villagers are nowhere near as strong as he is. Yeah, he does not want that to happen, so he basically just shuts them up real good before they actually get Mephiles to actually transform. And basically, with the full power of Iblis being Encarcio's support, because believe it or not, she does indeed need it. I mean, why do you think she would act like a bitch all the time if she did, freaking need support in some way, matter? Mephiles also needs her own support. And Naruto seems to be doing the job of that all friggin' fine, all just fine. And dandy. Freaking cashews. So basically, here's in wanting to test some things, test some water, to test the waters, test the blood in the water. If you could, dear, say so myself. What you gonna do when there's blood in the water? Blood in the water. Yeah, so basically, about the time that Team Darkness actually gets to Nami no Kuni, because yeah, they are basically the help sent. Naruto and Carcio and Mephiles. And then Carcio, not nearly as salty as before, that it actually made it there. As as before. And Carcio finally, simmering down a little bit. And Mephiles just leaning in on Naruto, just being all cuddly. Like a little cuddle bug. And Naruto just feeling all sorts of mixed emotions. But also knowing exactly what, the feelings of Mephiles mean, what exactly she feels about Naruto. And how she feels about Naruto. Finally having someone that feels the way about you that you've been hungering for so long. Basically, by the time they get there, to Tazura's house, basically, whenever they finally get there, Tsunami is basically at the door, and she's like, "Who are you?" And she sees Naruto, and it's like Konoha headband, and it's like, "Oh, you're the backup sent by Konoha." And then Carcio's just like, "It really took you that long to notice, woman?" And Mephiles is just like, "Sis, do you really have to be that way?" And well, and Carcio would just be like, "Mephiles, do you really have to ask?" And Mephiles would just be like, "Damn it, sis." And Naruto would just be like, "Come on, you two. Let's go." And basically, everybody would meet up with each other, and Sasuke would just stare at Naruto. And Naruto would be like, "Geez, what's all that about?" And Sakura would be like, "Hey, Naruto." And Naruto would be like, "Hey, Sakura." And you see, I made this friend, Mephiles. Mephiles, meet Sakura. Sakura, meet Mephiles. And Mephiles would just look at Sakura like, with this look of just like, even touch a hair on his head and you are dead, woman. And Sakura would just be like, "Oh shit." And, it would just be one of those moments where they'd be like, "Don't you even dare touch him." And, and Garcia would just be like, "Oh, who the hell is that guy?" And Naruto would be like, "Oh, Encarcio, that's Sasuke. Sasuke, this is Encarcio." And Sasuke's like, "You act like I care." And Garcia's just like, oh, hell no, you did not just. And, well, Inari just walks in on this, and he's like, why are you guys even trying? You all know you're gonna get killed by Gato. And then Garcia just stops trying to freaking strangle Sasuke in the middle of the freaking air. And like chokehold him out with like burrowing her stare into his soul. Like something like Itachi worthy. Like legit Itachi worthy, like freaking stare into your soul. Like some Tsukiyomi shit. Basically, Inari's just like, why are you guys even bothering? You know you can't beat Gato. Or you're just gonna get killed. There's no such thing as heroes. And then Garcia would just be like, stupid little kid. What do you know? And Inari would just be like, evidently more than you. And Mephiles would just be like, oh no, this is bad. And we'll just get in between Inari and Encarcio, and Encarcio would just be like, sis, let me at him, let me at him. And Netflix is like, no, I'm not going to let you murder the grandson of our client. Or at least their client, and our, client's reinforcement, basically. Us being the client's, basically the reinforcement. I'm not going to let you murder the grandson of the freaking bridge builder. Not happening. And that's whenever, basically, with Mephiles' hand in Garcia's face, and Garcia just ducks and just tries to run after Inari anyways, as soon as he turns around and starts walking off. It basically just boosts to win and like grabs her and Inari and just like tries to like German suplex him down and into the freaking floor. And this is basically whenever Mephiles would just be like, ah, damn it, chaos, clone. And then basically just pop a bunch of freaking clones, and they would all just start beating the ever living shit out of Encarcio. And it's just like, and Encarcio would just be freaking tied up and gagged in the freaking corner with a dunce hat, and then a sign saying "Timeout Corner." And basically, Inari's like, holy shit! Like, how did that happen? And basically, it's just like, with like a freaking Chaos Emerald in hand, Mephiles just be like, Chaos Cone, retract. It's like, all and gone. So yeah, that's interesting. So, basically after that awkward moment, Inari would just walk off, like not saying anything else, except for a quiet thank you. And Naruto would just be like, oh yeah. And just like, finally as Inari had basically just left, Naruto and Mephiles would just scamper off into some place outside and just be like, okay, Mephiles, what are we doing out here? And Mephiles would just be like, well, I was thinking about your jutsu. We could get you to learn 2 more before this mission is over. Yes, that's right. Hmm. Solaris Wind Style Arcing Palm and Solaris Wind Style Arcing Palm Dragon Bombs. Or Bombardment, more correct. Yes, Arcing Palm Dragon. Basically, Arcing Palm Dragon Bombardment. And these two basically Solaris Wind Style Arcing Slash. The hand signs, instead of monkey, rat, bird, monkey, the signs are monkey, rat, bird, dragon. And the signs for Solaris Wind Style Arcing Slash Dragon Bombardment is Dragon, Rat, Bird, Dragon. So, I think by now you've also already learned the other exercises besides the leaf and kunai ones. The ones that you basically have to levitate the items over a certain part of your body. And now I'm just like, oh yeah, I remember, yeah, I mastered those. And Netflix is like, with mine and Incarcio's help, well, only somewhat with Incarcio's help, but definitely with my help. Mm. Now, it seems your wind defending allows it to be a lot easier for you to levitate heavier items with your chakra, making it easier for you to use the kunai exercise than it would be to use the leaf exercise. Now, for the other two, tree walking and, considering the ninja that we're going to be fighting, water walking. And on the subject of your freaking seal, that would definitely make that difficult. Well, allow me. I'm basically a seal being 10 seals, being ox, tiger, boar, dragon, snake. Basically, ox, tiger, boar, dragon, snake. And then ox, tiger, boar, dragon, snake. Basically, ox, tiger, boar, dragon, snake 2 times. It's basically those 2 times. Basically, you would go ox, tiger, boar, dragon, snake, ox, tiger, boar, dragon, snake. The 10 hand signs for the jutsu. That's basically the hand signs that Mathilus would be using. Ox, tiger, boar, dragon, snake, ox, tiger, boar, dragon, snake. And then all of a sudden, they're like, sink into darkness. Elemental sealing jutsu. Content spiral. And then all of a sudden, Naruto would picture himself somewhere. It looked like a sewer. And basically, he would hear some very heavy, ragged breathing that would sound like it was coming from a very large beast. And he would basically walk up to something like a giant cage with a paper on it that seemed to have the kanji for seal on it. And that's whenever everything would just come rushing to Naruto. The 10 hand signs, Ox Dragon, Boar. What was it? Ox Dragon. I think it was actually Ox, Tiger. No, it was Ox, Boar, Tiger. I think it was actually Ox. Okay, I'm gonna say it like this: Ox, Boar, Tiger. Basically, Ox, Boar, Snake, Tiger, Dragon. Basically, it was done in that order: Ox, Boar, Snake, Tiger, Dragon. Basically, yeah, that. Basically, that 2 times. Ox, boar, snake, tiger, dragon. Ox, boar, snake, tiger, dragon. Basically that. Yes, basically, that's what he would remember as soon as he saw the kanji for seal. Ox, boar, snake, tiger, dragon. Ox, boar, snake, tiger, dragon. He would remember that. And so he would draw the hand signs, basically, he would draw from them using his hands, basically, the hand signs for ox, boar, snake, tiger, dragon, ox, boar, snake, tiger, dragon. And then he would basically use the technique on the seal, basically forcefully waking up the thing inside, as to where he would see 2 glowing red eyes, and basically hearing, "Who the hell woke me up?" And Naruto would just be like, "What the hell?" And basically just be like, "Oh, it's you, my container." And he would just see something that would blow him the frick away. Some dude in a red kimono with black pants. Traditional wooden sandals. And a sort of, I guess you could say, black, I believe it's called an obi or a sash, a thing around. I believe it's called an obi. If it's not an obi, it's called it's either an obi or a sash. I believe it's called an obi. Basically, a black obi, but basically red kimono, black pants, black obi. But in the black obi, there would actually be a red stripe going through the black obi, and he would have traditional wooden Japanese sandals. And he would have long red freaking hair with freaking red eyes and a foxy grin that even outmatches Naruto's. And this dude, his skin would be like fair as hell. It was just like, you could mistake him, like if you weren't paying attention, you could actually mistake him for a porcelain doll. Only porcelain dolls, I think porcelain is mainly white. So he's basically barely escaped the state of a porcelain doll in skin color. Like, that fair amount of skin. that good. He doesn't even have any freaking like pimples or moles. There's like extremely fair freaking skin, just barely escaping Orochimaru's porcelain doll skin. Just barely escaping that. And he would have two earrings, one earring for each ear, and a sort of neck brace thing. It would be like solid gold, but it would be like very light, which is strange because gold is actually supposed to be heavy. So it would actually be relatively light for the fact that it's actually made out of gold. Like thing around his neck. Basically a necklace. But really the only thing on it is like some sort of like engraving and like something that's similar to a dead language. And his freaking earrings would basically kind of, if any of you guys are like freaking Lord of the Rings fans, it would kind of remind you guys of the freaking Ring of Power, like Sauron's Ring of Power, like the one ring to rule them all. The earrings would kind of remind you of that if any of you guys out there are Lord of the Rings fans and know what the Ring of Power looks like. The earrings would kind of look exactly like that, only in earring form. Besides, the sort of dead language kanji on the freaking necklace would be too small for even the people with the best eyes to freaking read. And dude would even have a freaking like the same situation with his freaking necklace, even though it's gold, just like the freaking Ring of Power, like freaking like freaking earrings that the dude has. Just like those two, they would also be very light, considering the fact that they're made of gold. On top of the dude's head, he would have something that looks like a golden ass tiara with a freaking like a little gemstone in the middle. It looks like it's freaking made out of a crimson freaking ruby. And in the middle of that, like a freaking tiny ass little emerald, barely visible, unless you were like very close, which Naruto technically is, like right now. And also, basically, the fingernails basically resemble more claws than anything. And technically, that goes for the toenails as well. And, well, the funny thing is, on the back of both of his hands and on the top of his feet, both of his feet, on the top of both of his feet and on the back of both of his hands, are the kanji for seal. But surrounding the kanji for seal would be the kanji for all of the hand signs used in the hand. Basically, the jutsu that Naruto freaking remembered from whenever he was conscious. Because technically now, as this person now informs him, he is in his mindscape. And that the reason why it looks like a freaking sewer is because of how much of a terrible life he has lived for so damn long. Basically, you live a bad life, your mindscape is going to look like shit. You live a relatively good life, it's going to look a lot better than what Naruto's freaking mindscape looks like. Yeah, basically, just now, finally, with one final detail added, it's not like those freaking, round spectacle things, but more like those, smart, smart people, square-like design. Freaking glasses. But they seem more optional than actually necessary in order for them to see. Yeah, they seem more or less optional, like just something that they picked up. Like they find that they, either they could wear or couldn't wear, just depends on how they feel, I guess. At least that's what Naruto thinks. Glasses. You know what they say, every girl is crazy about a cheap sunglass, guy with a short dress name, friggin' cheap sunglasses. Whatever the frick the song is. I cannot remember for the life of me. Anyways. So, yeah, that basically completes the image. Well, one tiny last little detail. They also kind of have this, thing to go with their black obi, or sash, whatever it's actually called, around their waist. A black hayori on their back, that's where hayoris are supposed to go, I believe. With, in white, the kanji for, just like with the, the front of the hands and the top of the feet, the kanji for seal, and surrounding it, the kanji for each one of the hand seals for the jutsu used in order to get here. And basically receive the okay for, all of the chakra of the nine tails. Yes, if you guys haven't figured it out already, this guy is the freaking human embodiment of the nine-tailed fox, Kurama. That's basically what Naruto tells him. He really tells him, he has no fear, dude, my name is Kurama, if you just want, this version of Kurama is, laid back as hell. Because, like what was said with Naruto whenever he was communicating with Kurama but couldn't really see him, unlike now. Kurama, likes Mephiles and kind of feels like Incarsi is a little bit too pushy. But now that he can finally see freaking Kurama, Incarsi is a little bit too pushy. Just basically in human form, right in front of Naruto. Just freaking T1000s right through the damn bars. And just pokes Naruto. Naruto can actually feel it. And the moment this happens, he wakes up. The moment he gets poked, he wakes up. But he could indeed feel that poke. And something that's even crazier, it seems that somehow Kurama's human form managed to escape the seal. Or at least that's what Naruto thinks until he is corrected by Kurama himself. Yes, Kurama even tells Naruto that technically, yes, he is a boy, or at least that would be the case. However, the thing with that is, well, at least that's kind of how things would go. He would be like, he would say he was a boy, but secretly he was a girl. But that game has kind of gotten old. Doing it with Mito and doing it with freaking Kushina, that game has kind of gotten old. So just coming out with the truth, actually, is actually a man. Kurama is actually a man, and likes the whole little blossoming relationship between Naruto and Mephiles. Basically, Encarcio finally finding Mephiles and Naruto, being like, "You guys, you were supposed to be a dinner like a few seconds ago." Like, and whenever she said like, a few seconds ago, she meant a few seconds ago. They're that freaking precise. Encarcio was that freaking precise. And she just sees Naruto, talking with whoever the hell this person is. Basically, right in the middle of Kurama telling Naruto that technically the whole getting out of the freaking seal isn't actually completely true. Basically, what happened, basically what Mephiles did, is basically make it to where a physical manifestation of the human form of Kurama could step out, allowing Naruto to have better access of the powers that he would have should he, have the proper training, or at least be close to the proper training. And considering how good he's been doing, past, a while ever since Team Darkness was formed, yeah, Kurama considers that Naruto's been doing relatively well. So basically, a sort of psychic connection was indeed had one night before Mephiles actually went to bed. And basically, they had an agreement that Mephiles would pull this seal that basically Kurama would teach her how to use, and basically use it correctly, because if it was used incorrectly, basically Kurama explains that Naruto would die. And Mephiles does not want that. And Kurama knows that Mephiles does not want that. Basically, this seal on top of the 8 tetragram seal, basically the seal being called the Heavenly Providence seal. And the Heavenly Providence seal, actually its true name being the 12 Disciplines Heavenly Providence seal. Basically, the 12 Disciplines Heavenly Providence seal basically allows for exactly what just happened to happen. However, the 12 Disciplines Heavenly Providence seal it isn't actually all that well known. Scrap that. It's probably one of the least well known Fuin Jutsu out there. So, yeah, now you kind of figure out why it isn't really used at all. And even like the distrust in between, Kurama and Kushina and Mito, yeah, you would kind of be able to tell why Kurama wouldn't want to tell them about the 12 Disciplines Heavenly Providence seal, even if it did allow him to gain a physical form that would actually be able to be outside of the seal, even though truly his full form would not. He'd just be able to perceive things as if he was, because the physical form that would be created because of the 12 Heavenly Providence seal basically held the 12 Heavenly Disciplines Providence seal would basically create a physical body, like sort of like a Gi guy from like Bleach. It would kind of be like a biiju Gi guy. Like it would feel and seem like he was actually physically present outside of the seal, but he wouldn't actually be. But it would feel like it was like that. That's basically what the 12 heavenly disciplines Providence Seal does. And now, basically, they can finally have something equivalent to a Jonin Sensei. Because, basically, as Kurama explains, that's kind of what he plans to be. Not just that, but even more so. Sort of like their own sort of parent, seeing as Mephiles and Encarcio's father and mother kind of aren't actually here. And Kurama can sense that, but he can also sense that since Naruto doesn't have any immediate parents around, that he would also like to have some sort of parent. I mean, it's nice that he has something considered, close to siblings, and also kind of close to, like, a crush with Mephiles. But, it would be nice to have something considered, something like similar enough to parents or a parent. So, in a way, you know, Crum was like, in a way, you could kind of consider me like a Tucson. Considering like half of me is literally with your Tucson inside the belly of the freaking Reaper. But let's not touch on things like that. Damn freaking Shiki Fuin. Anyways, besides that, well, now all we have to do is just, once you've gotten those extra two jutsus down, see if I can train you in anything that would be useful automatically right away. Concerning Biiju Chakra or anything else I can train you in for the time being without causing you to explode. Basically. Oh, and about exploding. Take this. See this? Now do it. Basically, after the few hand signs that were shown, Naruto just does the cross hand sign for the Shadow Clone Jutsu. But before Naruto's able to say anything, Kurama just like corrects him before he's even able to say anything, be like, explosive Shadow Clone Jutsu. And Naruto just gets this big ass dumbass grin on his face, like shading grin, and just creates a bunch of freaking clones, and basically, like, there is like a giant ass freaking collection of freaking shit in the way of their route back home. Like, I guess that's just what happens whenever you start training with shit that is self-destructively incredibly dangerous. So basically, there's something in the way. So, Kurama just decides to use his chakra to create 9 chakra tails. Use those chakra tails to grab the Narutos and throw them all at the giant, brush of collective debris. And freaking fireworks galore. Yes, the freaking explosive clone jutsu, only it's explosive multi-shadow clone jutsu instead. Yeah. Explosive clones now. And that's the first thing that freaking Kurama has actually taught Naruto. And one thing interesting that Kurama is actually interested in is teaching Naruto something else. Something interesting that couldn't even be useful if he would ever get into a spot where he would have to get an extra power boost right away without necessarily tearing his body up. So he could kind of like slip into this form like it was sort of like a Halloween costume. And Naruto would be like, well, what exactly is that? And it would basically be like, play possum jutsu. And then all of a sudden, Naruto would just feel this rush through his entire body. And then he'd become like this half Naruto, half demon fox thing. And then, like, the entire form would just be absorbed into Naruto. And he would get all the way to this half, like, Four Tails Cloak Naruto, half regular Naruto monstrosity. But he would, surprisingly, Naruto would actually see that he had full control. And this is the perk, this is the main perk that comes with the play Possum Jutsu. That while he is just relatively using it at its, normal basis, he has full control over his actions. It also helps considering that Kurama doesn't really hate him or, have any spite for him, unlike Shikaku and Gaara. So that helps with, there not really be all that much gripes with the jutsu. And basically, Kurama can just pull Naruto out of the jutsu, if need be. Like, as soon as, beginning to think, oh, this would not be good if anyone saw him like this. And basically, it just yoinks him out of the freaking jutsu. And Naruto, the one effect, does really have on his body. It kind of feels like he just went through 10 different hangovers at the same damn time. Like, just jolts him really damn fast. And, freaking Chrome would just be like, well, that's a wrap. Basically, Chrome would also explain that he can go inside and outside Naruto's body whenever he pleases. That he's pretty much, being the strongest biiju, can do whatever the hell he wants. And one thing that would actually be interesting that Kurama would get asked by Naruto before he would freaking faint. And basically, Kurama would basically tell Netflix and Carcio to basically pick up your freaking luggage and take it over there so that nobody gets freaking worried. Basically, before that would happen, before Naruto would faint, he would actually ask freaking Kurama the question. He would pop the question, the $1,000,000 question, of, he technically, his looks kind of betray how old he must be, being a biiju and all, like these beings of, like, power and shit. And, like, if, you look like that, but you are who you are, how old must you really be? And basically, Naruto would be able to heal the answer, but he wouldn't necessarily be able to shift it because he wouldn't have enough energy. Basically, Kurama would answer with, oh, my age? How am I supposed to put this? Yeah, carry the 4 from whenever L's a bitch with the chakra split when Dad was doing a thing with Shinju and Ten Tails. Carry the 4 again, and oh shit, I'm actually a lot younger than I thought I was. Hmm. Why, basically, how time flies. Um, this is interesting. At least over 95,000 millennia. Basically, when I said Naruto would pull a shit fit if he had the energy to, but he didn't. Yeah, over 95,000 millennia. Because technically, before he had his own biiju form, Kurama did indeed exist in his own form before the technical even creation of the Jubi. In a sort of like yokai form. It's even before the time of the Sage of Six Paths. But the name was kind of different. And the time in which he existed then, he was referred to as Prince Kurama. Yes. And in the latest time after that, he was eventually referred to as King Kurama, or Kurama the Bringer of Destruction. Or simply put, Kurama the Destroyer. Which, there are kind of names that Kurama basically, voices out that they're kind of thing that you're kind of harsh, even for the kind of person that Kurama is. Feels that those names are kind of harsh. And Kurama just like, and you wonder why I never got freaking married. Everyone freaking drama queens. Good lord. Even the bitches with the actual ovaries didn't really have enough, you know, shit to contend with me. But I can feel this is going to be different. Something inside of me just tells me this is going to be different. And that's basically where I'm going to end off part 2, if basically of what if Naruto was part of Team Darkness. This is